Kunja Bihari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Radhanata Radha, Radhanata Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Shrinvata Swagata Punya Shinvata Swagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridiyantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti suritsatam. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 8, Dhruva Maharaj leaves home. Text 20, right? Oh. Okay. Yasya Angri Padmam Paricharya Vishva Vibhavanaya Ata Guna Abhipate Aja Adyatishta Kalo Parameshtyam Padam Jita Atma Swasana Abhivandyam Yasyangri Padmam Paricharya Vishva Yasyangri Padmam Paricharya Vishva Vibhavanayata Gunabhipate Vibhavanayata Gunabhipate. What's the meter? I forgot the meter. Sorry, I'm giving class after a very long time. Yasyangri Padmam Paricharya Vishva Vibhavanayata Gunabhipate Ajyotatistat Kalo Parameshtyam Padam Jitatma Swasana Bhivandyam Yasyangri Padmam Paricharya Vishva Vibhavanayata Gunabhipate Ajyotyatishtat Kalo Parameshtyam Padam Jitatma Swasanaya Vivandyam. Prabhu. Yasyangri Padmam Paricharya Vishva Vibhavanayata Gunabhipate Ajyotatistat Kalo Parameshtyam Padam Jitatma Swasana Bhivandyam. Vaishnavi. Yasyangri Padmam Paricharya Vishva Vibhavanayata Gunabhipate Ajyotatistat Kalo Parameshtyam Padam Jitatma Swasana Bhivandyam. Yasyangri Padmam Paricharya Vishva Vibhavanayata Gunabhipate Ajyotyatishtat Kalo Parameshtyam Padam Jitatma Swasana Bhivandyam. Yasyangri Padmam Paricharya Vishva Vibhavanaya Gunabhipate Ajyotyatishtat Kalo Parameshtyam Adam Jitatma Svasana Bhivandyam Yasya, whose, Angri, leg, Padmam, lotus feet, Paricharya, worshipping, Vishva, the universe, Vibhavanaya, for creating, Ata, received, Guna Abhipate, for acquiring the required qualification, Aja, the unborn, Lord Brahma, Adyatishta, become situated, Kalo, undoubtedly, Parameshtyam, the supreme position within the universe, Padam, position, Jita Atma, one who has conquered his mind, Svasana, by controlling the life air, Abhivandyam, worshipable. Translation. Suniti continued, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so great that simply by worshipping his lotus feet, your great-grandfather, Lord Brahma, acquired the necessary qualifications to create this universe. Although he is unborn and is the chief of all living creatures, he is situated in that exalted post because of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom even the great yogis worship by controlling the mind and regulating the life air, prana. Please repeat. Suniti continued, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so great that simply by worshipping his lotus feet, your great-grandfather, Lord Brahma, acquired the necessary qualification to create this universe. Although he is unborn and the chief of all living creatures, he is situated in that exalted post because of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom even the great yogis worship by controlling the mind and regulating the life air, prana. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Suniti cited the example of Lord Brahma, who was Dhruva Maharaja's great-grandfather. Although Lord Brahma is also a living being, by his penance and austerity, he acquired the exalted position of creator of this universe by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. To become successful in any attempt, one not only has to undergo severe penance and austerity, but also must be dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This indication has been given to Dhruva Maharaj by his stepmother and was now confirmed by his own mother, Suniti. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Suniti continued, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so great that simply by worshipping his lotus feet, your great-grandfather Lord Brahma acquired the necessary qualifications to create this universe. Although he is unborn and is the chief of all living creatures, he is situated in that exalted post because of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom even great yogis worship by controlling the mind and regulating the life air. Hare Krishna, all the devotees of the Lord. It's very wonderful to be serving with you all again. And as usual, before I speak, I ask for your blessings that I may say something in line with Srila Prabhupada as well as pleasing to all the devotees. So we are now speaking about this wonderful pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. And we can see Suniti is saying that, Dhruva, you want something greater than your great-grandfather, Lord Brahma. So we see that this pastime is taking place so early in the creation of the universe. If you look like in our lives, some people have met their great-grandparents. Some people have met, so there's maybe 100 or 80 years sort of gap between you and them. So it's relatively close. So this is how early in creation this is happening. So we understand that in the material world, right from the very beginning, there is envy, there is enmity, there is jealousy, there is fighting, quarrel. These attributes have been there all along in the material world. This is how deeply rooted these material desires are, that from the very beginning they are there. So we understand that we must be diligent in our attempt to overcome them, because now we are trying to practice bhakti, which is the complete opposite of that nature. So these things go so deep. And also this is why we have a material body in the first place. We were envious of Krishna and we wanted to enjoy without him. So we have fallen down. But we are in a position now where we have a somewhat superior consciousness as human beings, and we can understand, and we have come to the point where understanding that human life is meant for learning how to come to a position of non-enviousness. That is what pure devotional service is, what we are striving for. Prabhupada says that a pure devotee is the non-envious well-wisher of all living entities. It's quite a tall order to reach, the non-envious well-wisher of all living entities, all of them, Krishna, So we have to practice through the process of bhakti and devotional service, how to turn our envy into love, basically. So we have to practice this, obviously, under the guidance of a guru, of a spiritual master. It's like any mundane activity you have in the world. You want to learn how to drive, or you want to learn how to play the guitar. You have to go to someone who knows how to do it. You have to learn from them, and you have to practice. You may have some inherent talent for something. Like bhakti is inherent within all of us, but we need that extra push and guidance to bring it out. It has to be cultivated and trained in a proper way. We have to unlearn, the past 8,400,000 lives that we've had, and now relearn something else, which is our inherent nature. The example is given of this person who was a violin player, and he wanted to go to this very well-renowned music school somewhere in Europe. And he went there and he applied for admission, and he said, well, I have so many years of training, but I'd like to refine my skill, and this is what I know. And at the same time, another person also came to apply for admission, but they knew absolutely nothing about anything. They just had an inclination. So the person interviewing them said, okay, for you, you have all of this experience and you're coming to, you want to enroll with us, that's fine. Your fees will be, 400 pounds or whatever. And for you who know absolutely nothing, your fee will be 200 pounds. And this person said, well, what is this? I already have training. I know so many things. Why are you charging me more? You should charge me less because you'll have to teach me less. And the person doing the interview said, no, first I have to unteach you all the wrong you've learned and then reteach you the right way. Whereas this person, I can just teach him from the beginning. So it's not that easy in one sense to just turn your envy into love. We have to undo so many things that we've just been conditioned into over our previous lifetimes. But it is possible through endeavor and through mercy, as the verse is saying. An interesting point I was thinking about, that Suniti is now instructing her son. And if you just, from maybe an allegorical point of view, take the names of the mothers, Suniti and Suruchi. If you remove the Su from both their names, Niti means, one meaning of Niti is moral instructions, moral integrity. And Ruchi, well, we know Ruchi means taste, but Ruchi also means happiness and great delight, which is very interesting. So what will Dhruva do? Will he listen to the moral of what he's hearing, or will he follow in a selfish way and do something to make him happy? Will he listen, or, just be blinded by what Suruchi is telling him and fan his sense gratification to get the best for him? That's also the meaning of Uttama, is best. So the best for his sense gratification. Or will he follow the Niti, or the integrity? So we see that both of the mothers have given the same advice in different contexts, of course, but the essence of both is the same. Go and find the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Suniti is saying, not only for some material benediction from this long list that you may have, understand, Dhruva, that the Lord can make the impossible possible. He can do anything for you. Look at your great-grandfather. Understand that the position of Brahma is something that has a lot of power attached to it, to create the entire universe. That's beyond our conception. We read about it in the 5th canto, and it's just, we kind of just skip over those numbers because it's just like too much to comprehend. But there is someone with this power to create all of this. He is the very first created being. He has immense Shakti, but how did he get this? How did he get this? We read in the 2nd and 3rd canto when we read about the creation of the universe and the appearance of Brahma. When he appeared, he had no knowledge of how he was born, what he was meant to do. He appeared from the lotus, and he looked around and there was darkness, and he went, up the wall of the lotus, went down, and he couldn't see anything. It was just darkness, until he heard a voice that said, tapa, austerity. Perform some austerity, make some endeavor, do something. So even Brahma, without the Lord's mercy, was absolutely confused. Without the Lord's guidance, he didn't know what he was doing. So yeah, he may be famous for his position and his power, but his power and his ability come from Krishna. So yeah, his position is so great that he needs extra, endowment from the Lord. And Krishna gives him this to do his service. Krishna will always give you what is required to do your service in all circumstances. In general, when people think of God, they have some idea that, oh, God is the creator. He just manifests things and he makes arrangements and this and that. And yeah, he does that, but Krishna actually gives the direct power of creating to Brahma. He says, this is your service, you create. So he does what he wants to do through his servant, obviously because he wants his servant to be glorified in that way. And this is why Brahma's position is special. That's why we are, from the Sampradaya, coming from Brahma himself, that he has been endowed with mercy from the Lord. So Suniti is encouraging Dhruva that, no, you should listen to your stepmother. Actually, she's making a lot of sense. Go and listen to her. And we understand that even when there is some disagreement between two parties, we should concur when the other party is telling the truth. Don't have to listen to everything, but if the essence of what they're saying is truthful, we should accept it. Yeah, because they're saying, she's taken the essence of what Suruchi is saying. Find the Supreme Personality of Godhead and worship him. So you should do that. Although one request was quite selfish and hurtful. So we should be, as Prabhupada says, like the honeybee and look for the nectar and not like the fly. And of course, as Prabhupada says, even gold can be taken from a dirty place. So always take the essence if the essence is truthful. And Suniti is encouraging Dhruva that why should you go and find the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Because there's so much more than both spiritual and material prosperity. Yes, that is there. And ultimately, to gain both spiritual and material prosperity is impossible through the worship of the Devas, because they are limited and fallible in their capacity. It is only by the grace of Krishna that any living being can be empowered to do amazing things. We as human living entities, we know that we have a limit to what we can do. We know what our limit is, but we try and exceed it. A good example of this is the Olympics. So, every year they have the Olympics and they try to break the record by a fraction of a second. You have reached the limit, but you'll still try. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Olympics, you've reached your limit, but you try to exceed it by a little fraction of a second. And this is what the world considers great. But there is a limit to what a living entity can do. But in scripture, like in the Bhagavatam, we read of all these personalities who exceed our like what we can comprehend as limitations. And of course, they're not on this earth planet. These are these jivas who are empowered by the Lord. They are the demigods. They exceed our limitations by what they can do. But they only get such amazing power through mercy and no other way. Yes, they make their endeavor, they do their austerity, but ultimately it is mercy that carries them through. And they get this mercy from Krishna because he will indirectly control through them. Like you have the president and you have the ministers, so they are all the ministers of the president. But why does Krishna do this indirectly? Why doesn't he just do it himself? Why doesn't he just be in charge? No, Krishna is too busy playing with his friends to be bothered to come down and manage the whole entire material manifestation. It's like, no, I'm having a good time with the cows. You can deal with this. So Dhruva wants something. He's now, he's a Kshatriya, so there's this burning fire within him that has been lit by the words of his stepmother, and he wants revenge, he wants justice. So he wants something that, practically speaking, is materially impossible. What can be more than the universe we live in for us? Nothing more than that, Dhruva. But you want something more than this. So because you are thinking beyond the capacity of Brahma, you have to approach the person whose capacity is beyond that as well. And that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because even your great-grandfather is fallible. Brahma lives for a very, very long time, and that figure of time is beyond our comprehension, but it comes to an end eventually. But Krishna's time is eternal. So better you go beyond Brahma, go to the origin, because Krishna is in a league of his own. When we understand that, yes, the Lord can give anything in the material world, but he can give so much more than that also. He gives so much spiritual benediction as well. He gives something that is non-material, that is permanent. But a devotee is not in the habit of even asking for that. Why? We read that for the pure devotee, even liberation herself knocks on the door of the pure devotee's house. The pure devotee doesn't have to ask the Lord for any of this. They only want one thing, and that is service to the Lord. That's the only thing they ever ask for. And yeah, this is the definition we know of the Mahamantra. Oh, all attractive one, supreme energy of the Lord, reservoir of pleasure, please engage me in your devotional service. This is the one and only thing a devotee will ever ask for. Give me something for you, not for myself. And this is a very, very unique mood that only we see in devotional service or in the bhakti practice. That Whatever I do, let it be directly for your pleasure, because I know and I have faith that I will experience the highest form of happiness in your service and only in your service. You are the most attractive, so naturally, if I follow you, only attraction and attractive things will come into my life. If you are the reservoir of pleasure, if I serve you, only pleasure will exist in my life. We may not be on the highest level. We know that we are sadhakas, we are still very conditioned, and we have so many anarthas in our heart that have been there and will be there for many, many lifetimes. The mirror of our hearts is still, very, very thick with dust. But we know that even in my limited capacity and my small attempts to perform devotional service, there is great power in this. And we see this when we just look at the Lord and we say, align me to your purpose, Krishna. Just make me your own. As Prabhupada says, you have brought me here, so make me dance, oh Lord, make me dance like a puppet. If we simply say this, even if we're just saying it without fully realizing it, there is deep power in that, because Krishna sees the intention behind that. Even though what we're doing looks apparently very material, the 9 processes of devotional service. Oh, you're cooking some offering. Oh, you're smelling the incense. You're dancing. You're taking the lamp on your head. It looks very apparently material because we're using our material senses. But by doing all of these things, it is actually the cultivation of a relationship with Krishna. And not just any relationship, we are cultivating a relationship of affection with the Lord. We are personally trying to relate and understand with Him. And we know that if we do hearing and chanting and service without the mood of trying to cultivate a relationship, then we feel the emptiness. There are those days when we mechanically do our service without any conscious thought, and we know how we feel after that oh, there was something lacking in today's service, as opposed to when you actually meditate on what you're doing and the difference. And this is the powerful process of sadhana. Sadhana is so powerful that just its good execution, your material desires will be fulfilled. It will be, because Krishna is so kind, but that's not the aim of what we're doing. And we see this later on in Dhruva's story. His austerity and his meditation purified him so much that he got a higher benediction than what he asked for. He came into this, guns blazing with this material desire, but Krishna purified him all the way, and he lost his desire for material things. In the Bhagavad Gita, we know that there are 4 types of devotees who approach the Lord. The inquisitive, the desire of wealth, the distressed, and the knowledge seeker, right? So we see that these 4 people who approach the Lord, they're not approaching Him from a point of pure devotional service. They're approaching Him for something, that's pious, but still a little bit selfish. So we understand that, Krishna accepts impure bhakti. He accepts it. Because bhakti in any form is powerful. Even without any faith or devotion, just doing something unconsciously has great power. Like we know the story of Ajamil. He called out for his 5-year-old son who was Narayan. He wasn't calling out for Krishna, he was just calling for his son because he was just dying and he couldn't deal. And what happened? The Vishnu Dutas came. Just that unconscious effort of calling out, not even for Krishna, but Krishna's like, no, but that is my name. It's okay. It's okay. I'll take it. So the potency and the Shakti of the Lord is always present. And Krishna is attracted to any devotee in any circumstance with just the slightest bit of inclination or faith or curiosity even. Dare you be curious about Krishna, it's over for you. You just come into the temple as like, oh, it's a big building. Let's see what it's all about. And then you see him. Life is over, Krishna. He's noticed you and he's noted you down, and you are his now, basically, no matter how many lifetimes it takes. And this is so interesting because none of this happens in like Ashtanga yoga or karma yoga, or the yogis who perform penances for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Krishna is like, he doesn't go there. It's like, no, it's a bit dry. there's no taste there. But he doesn't directly intervene or personally involve himself in their meditation. He just leaves them alone for thousands of years. But here, you come one day and you offer one lamp. He's like, I see you. You're mine. But also, when he becomes more involved actively in your life, there are certain cases where he may give you certain things or take certain things away based on what is best for your devotional service. Krishna always does what is best for your bhakti. So be careful about what you ask the Lord for in the beginning, because you may regret it later. Like Dhruva, I'm asking for a kingdom, then he regrets it. He's like, oh no, what am I doing? I shouldn't have asked for that, What did he say? I'm asking for broken pieces of glass while sitting on the greatest jewel. And also, Uddhava says somewhere in the 11th canto, he says that, Brahma and all the great demigods and great higher personalities, they are waiting in line to offer obeisances and dandavats to the Lord. They are very patiently waiting because they want to touch the top of their helmets to the lotus feet of the Lord. They are so patiently waiting in line, but what is the Supreme Personality of Godhead doing? He's not giving them any attention. He's spending time with the monkeys. Why? Because the monkeys are those entities who have taken exclusive shelter of Krishna. Everything, happiness Krishna, sadness Krishna, hunger Krishna, thirst Krishna, playfulness Krishna. And that is why he will give his attention to the monkeys and not the demigods. So Suniti is saying, Dhruva, you have to take shelter of the Lord. There is no question about it. You want the impossible? Only Krishna can give it to you. There's no question about it. But getting the Lord's mercy isn't a question of birth or something like that. Mercy is tied to faith. Austerity, endeavor, and penance, that's one thing, but mercy is in a whole entire league of its own. It's beyond comprehension sometimes when you think of mercy. Also, we have to understand that the mercy of Krishna isn't going to flow through me in the way that I want it to flow through me. It's not like, I have this plan for my life, I'm going to do so much of service, Krishna is going to give me this much mercy and it's going to go this way. No. Krishna will use you as he sees fit to use you. He will use you as an instrument in the way that he chooses. Why? Because mercy is beyond logic. The second chapter of the third canto, we know there's that verse, Aho Bhakiyam Stanakala Kutam, that how can I take who is more merciful than that person who gave the position of mother to a she-demon? This is like a perfect example of what mercy is, that Putana came to kill Krishna. She spared poison on her breast. What did Krishna do? Sucked her breast and said, you will be my mother in the spiritual world. Like, logically, this does not add up, Krishna. Like, this person came to kill you. And what did you do? You just rewarded them with the most, I don't understand, Krishna, what's happening? And that is what mercy is. We will not fully be able to understand or comprehend it. But we cannot live in this world without faith. From the moment we're born, you're born and the doctor just slaps you and then you scream and cry. We are born with faith that, no, I'm going to live. I'm going to be cared for. As a toddler, babies, they live off faith. That, their parents and their guardians will see to them. And this is the only way to live, through faith. But, the mercy that comes with faith, mercy isn't necessarily proportionate to endeavor. It's not like if I cook so many offerings for you, Krishna, you will do X, Y, and Z for me because that's tying up. That's not how it works. If it worked that way, it wouldn't be causeless. Mercy is always causeless. Yes, your endeavor and your austerity and your penance may increase the likelihood of getting mercy. That is there. But don't think that Krishna will deliberately withhold mercy and not give it. It's like, oh, I'm doing so much, but he's just not engaging with me, and look at him, and he's just so selfish. I'm sorry. Srila Prabhupada says in the first canto of Bhagavatam that Krishna is more eager for us to go to him than we are to actually return to him. Krishna is anxiously waiting for us to come back. It's like there's a father who has a child, and he has this inheritance that he wants to give the child. And he's eager to give the inheritance, but he has to wait for the child to be mature enough to not squander it and because the child, if he gives it to a toddler, they won't know the value of what they're receiving. They have to be mature enough to understand what they're getting. So Krishna wants to give us love. He wants to give us mercy. But he's also waiting to see if we actually value what he's going to give us. This comes with doing more devotional service and growing your faith, that the more we value, the more he will give us. But again, he's going to give you only that which is beneficial for your bhakti, not what you think you should receive, And of course, the general understanding that we get from Bhagavad Gita is that this relationship is reciprocal. It's as we surrender, he rewards us accordingly. That is there. But what is his ultimate mercy? It's himself. There's nothing greater than himself. So and that's like in our heart when he manifests with his all attractiveness, and he reveals himself to us in proportion to our desire to see him. Our purified desire, not our mundane desire. So what do we have to do? We have to open our heart. And this is different for each and every individual because we're all unique. We're not just carbon copy jivas of each other. There's variegatedness in the spiritual world. Some people open their hearts through chanting, some through cooking, some through sewing, some through Harinam, some through book distribution. It's unique for everyone, but you have to see for yourself what opens your heart up most to Krishna. And you have to absorb yourself in that connection. Of course, as Prabhupada has instructed, we should know the basics of everything. We should know how to do everything. Basically, Prabhupada said that a devotee knows how to give a class, cook halava, and play mridanga. That's a good, foundation. So we should have the basics, but we should absorb ourselves in that which opens our connection. In one of the purports to the Gajendra pastime, Prabhupada says that no one is a failure. But we get this sense because we are on the wrong platform. So we have to find our platform for connection to Krishna. And you can only do this for yourself because it's a unique relationship that only you have with Krishna. Bhaktichara Swami makes some very nice points on what endeavor is. Maharaj says that endeavor in the mode of goodness means that I try my best. That's endeavor in the mode of goodness. And over endeavor means when I try to be better than the best. So whatever can be done joyfully according to the instruction of my authority, of my guru, and of Krishna, I must try my best to do that. That is a good endeavor. But obviously, for Krishna, nothing is an over endeavor when we're serving him. But, if I'm doing it with some tinge of sense gratification, that becomes an over endeavor. And also, an endeavor should be pleasing to the Vaishnavas. Because Krishna is pleased when the devotees are pleased. If what you're doing is just, causing headache to the Vaishnavas, then it may be a good thing, but I don't know about that. And we have to have faith, ultimately, that Krishna will empower me. I can't remember where I heard this, but I heard that when a guru gives an instruction, or when your spiritual master gives you an instruction, within the instruction is the ability to perform it. Within that instruction is the mercy, but we have to tap into that mercy with our endeavor. When we look, obviously, Srila Prabhupada is the perfect example. Everything that he did was within his limits. For him, it wasn't an over endeavor in any way. Why? Because it was all for Krishna and for his spiritual master. He met his spiritual master a handful of times, but he held on to those few instructions that he got, and he tapped into that instruction with an endeavor. And see, nothing was for himself, and Krishna gave, or like opened up his path so much. The second canto also says that 1 grain of devotion is worth more than tons of faithlessness. So I may have my doubts and I may have my questions, but if I have 1 grain of faith, if I have 1 grain of devotion, if I just hold on to that, it will be worth more than anything else. If I can try to use my body, use my mind and my words in service and let the Lord control that. Bhakticharya Swami also says that over endeavor means that I have taken on so much service I cannot chant 16 rounds. I cannot finish my rounds. So we may be doing so much service, but if our rounds are not done, that is not good. Because the basis of our foundation of our sadhana is our japa. And I will end with a prayer or something written by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Amritavani. He says that mercy is my only hope. Whatever my level of adhikar means qualification, mercy is my only hope. It is not my endeavor that give a desired result. If my mood is right, my endeavor will attract Krishna's mercy and he will give the result. Let's face it, I'm a mercy case. And it's so crucial that my mood is favorable and pleasing to Krishna. And best I learn that mood from someone who has it. Let's take a look at a very beautiful and instructive prayer by Srila Sanatana Goswami. Srila Sanatana Goswami says, "Your mercy is a great wonder, not different from you. It is pure eternity, knowledge, and bliss. It can empower me to always remember and glorify you in pure love. It can obtain for me your divine sidelong glance. It can enable me to see you absorbed in the company of the cows and the gopas and the gopis. Thus, for a helpless person like me, it is the ultimate resort of all hopes. Your wonderful mercy is ancient and eternal, but also ever new and fresh. To your mercy, again and again, I offer my obeisances forever. It is the duty of the intelligent to follow the Mahajans. To think one can attain perfection by one's own endeavor is a material conception. To think this leads only toward material existence and not to Vraja." And there's a quote I read somewhere, but there was no author. The person said that, it's one thing to worship God and follow his instruction, but it's something else to witness his mercy and his grace in your life. I will stop there. We still have 5 minutes. Any corrections, additions? Ranga.
Hare Krishna. I like the point of, you said that mercy is beyond logic, and it's, so I was just thinking that this movement is run by Krishna. He's the boss, yeah. Right? And we may come with so many ideas like strategic planning and this and that, but ultimately everything will be smashed because why? Krishna wants it his way. He doesn't want it your way. So so everything is going on by the mercy of Krishna. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, whenever we start something, we should ask Krishna first, huh? It's like, what would you like? Because it would save me a whole lot of anxiety and headache and fight if you just told me what you like. But that's half the fun. Ganga.
Sometimes I ask Krishna to make it clear what he wants, but then he, through my Guru Maharaj, tells me, no, you have to choose. It's not like he will say, you have to do this. You have to choose. But sometimes it's not so easy to see the difference between Maya and Krishna, because we can't see, so it's hard to choose.
It's hard to, yes. Yeah, we are that marginal energy, so we have that tiny choice. And Krishna will never take that away, because also the love is a lot more stronger when you're chosen. And Krishna wants to be chosen at the end of the day. That's what really strengthens the love. That, you know, Krishna, life is really hard and Maya is so strong, but I choose you. And that's I think the turning point in devotion is when you actively choose Krishna every day. And it's not easy some days to choose Krishna. You know, it's like, why do I have to wake up at 4 a.m.? Why do I live, you know, it's like, why do I put myself through all of this? But the sweetness that comes from being chosen, especially from a place of love, is something. And I had another point, but I forgot it. What were you saying towards the end?
Just sometimes Maya dresses up just like Krishna, and you think, oh, this must be Krishna.
Oh, the other point. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay that, you know, you're faced with a choice and you choose one thing and, oh, it didn't turn out to actually be the right choice. It's okay, because Krishna is still there. And we can always come back to him, and he's never going to throw that in our face, which is a good thing. He's never going to, even if you made the wrong choice, he'll always be there. And I was telling someone, it's like the one certainty we have in life is like, no matter what happens during the day, when you wake up the next morning for Mangal Arti, he's still there. He's not going anywhere. Like, we may come and go, things may happen, he'll always be there when the curtain opens. So even though the choice is hard, he'll always be there.
Thanks, Bhumi.
Ravindra.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the class. I like the point she was making. Is when you do devotional service, Krishna is empowers you. So especially like when you got talent, you use it for Krishna, but Krishna empowers you. But also people say, oh, you know what? This Prabhu sings so nice. He got a very good voice, but not realizing Krishna in the center of everything. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Satyarani.
Hi Krishna.
Hi.
I have two questions.
Oh.
So the first one is, you were making the point about we have to unlearn so many things because it's so deeply impressed in our consciousness, and we have to learn so many things basically to become devotees. So I was just wondering, like, is that an active thing where we actively acknowledge and like crack our heads over it, or do we just rely on the process of devotional service to purify us?
I think it's a bit of both. We have ability and we should use it to empower, well, not empower ourselves, but sometimes I feel like we forget the principle of what we're doing and we get so tied up in the details. Like, if you know what the principle of your life is and you have ability, we should make an endeavor to fulfill that principle. Like, okay, the principle of my life is to serve Krishna. So whatever I do, I should focus on that. And however I need to get there, whatever is holding me back, I need to do what I need to do to get there. But there's also that reliance on Krishna, that I am doing this so I can get to you, and I know you'll give me that push. Or whatever I'm going through, whatever also I need to unlearn is going to help me find you somehow. And it's also not easy when we're faced with our own shortcomings. It's not when you realize that I think I'm a good listener, but when I'm faced in a situation, I'm like, oh, I'm actually not even hearing you. Actually, I'm covered and I don't even respect the person I'm talking to as a devotee. You know, and when we have to call ourselves out sometimes, and that's, I think, the hard part. But it's definitely, I feel, an active thing, that if I have the capacity to do something, to change for the long-term benefit of my spiritual life, I'm going to do whatever I can. But I'm going to rely that Krishna will ultimately guide me to where I need to go. Don't know if that helps.
It makes sense. It's a combination of both. Then my second question was, so this particular chapter is like, you know, Dhruva is really hard up after something materialistic, and he doesn't meet Narada Muni later on, and Narada Muni says like, you know, just go home, and all of these things. But sometimes, although we may know what the goal is, sometimes we can be deeply fixated on something material. So then what do we do, like, for our consciousness to become more settled? Because, you know, the focus becomes interrupted with material desires, but it's still there.
So it's like you have a material desire that's just in your consciousness and just like taking over?
Yeah, it's like we know that Krishna consciousness will fully satisfy the heart, but we still have this inclination to invest in other things that we know will come to an end, that won't bring us full happiness.
Well, I think it depends on what the thing is, because it's like we have to also look at our inherent nature as a soul. We want connection, we want, you know, belonging. We do yearn for all these things, and yeah, the desire may be tinged, but I think it comes down again to that point of dovetailing. It comes down to, it's like, okay, I have a material desire, but we have to remember also, we cannot be desireless. That's not the nature of the spiritual, of the spirit soul. We cannot just be blank. That's not us. We're always going to desire something. So these things are always going to be there in our consciousness. And again, it's about, let me put my attention into things that actually concern me, that actually concern the principle of what I want to do. Like, this thought is always going to be there. And when it goes away, something else is going to come, something worse is going to like pop in there. It's like, but the point is that through all of this, I will stick it out. Through that material desire, I will still chant. I will still do service. And at some point, it will settle through the focus. Hopefully. I don't know if someone else has something to add. If I think of something else, I'll tell you. Okay. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Gaura Premanande.